He won his seat while his party took every single seat in parliament. Then 2 years later he shocked the nation by switching sides and becoming leader of the opposition overnight. Hit subscribe because Ralph Thorne's story is the wildest political drama in Caribbean history. In February 2024, Ralph Thorne walked across the floor of the Barbados House of Assembly and changed everything. One day, he was a backbench member of the ruling Barbados Labour Party. The next day, he was leader of the opposition. But here is the crazy part. There was no opposition before he crossed. Prime Minister Mia Mottley's government held all 30 seats in parliament. Every single one. Barbados had no official opposition at all. And then Thorne, a respected lawyer and member of Mottley's own party, stood up and said enough. He walked to the other side. And in that single moment, he became the most important opposition figure in the country. This is the story of what happened to Ralph Thorne. How he went from a known lawyer to MP to opposition leader. The marriage to a high court judge that made him politically powerful. The controversies that have defined his leadership. And what he is building right now as he prepares to challenge the most dominant political force Barbados has ever seen. Ralph Thorne grew up in Christchurch, Barbados. He attended Grace Hill Primary School, where a quote on the classroom board stayed with him his entire life. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Those words shaped everything about him. They gave him a sense of fairness and justice that would drive his career. Thorne was raised in a religious household. Church was not optional. School had morning assembly with prayers, hymns, and the national anthem. His life was surrounded by faith, and that faith taught him there was a higher power watching. It taught him to believe in something bigger than himself. It gave him moral grounding that he carries to this day. After primary school, Thorne went on to build a career in law. He became a Queen's Counsel, one of the highest honors a lawyer can receive. He opened his own law firm and quickly gained a reputation as one of the best criminal defense attorneys in the Caribbean. Thorne took on high-profile cases that other lawyers would not touch. He defended Michael Missick, the former premier of Turks and Caicos, in a major corruption trial. He defended Neil Rowe, a Barbados MP accused of rape, and won a not guilty verdict in 2025. Thorne was not afraid of controversial cases. He believed everyone deserved a defense, and he won more often than he lost. But Thorne's personal life was just as impressive as his professional one. He married Jacqueline Cornelius, a brilliant lawyer in her own right. Jacqueline became a high court judge and then, in May 2024, was sworn in as a Justice of Appeal, one of the highest judicial positions in Barbados. Together, Ralph and Jacqueline have 3 children. They are a power couple. He is one of the top lawyers and politicians. She is one of the top judges. Their marriage gives Thorne credibility, connections, and influence that few politicians can match. When people see Ralph Thorne, they see a man of integrity because his wife sits on the highest court in the land. That matters in Caribbean politics where family and reputation are everything. Thorne first got involved in politics with the Democratic Labour Party, the DLP. He ran for parliament twice with the DLP but lost both times. The party was struggling. They had been in power and made mistakes that voters could not forgive. By 2018, the DLP was collapsing, and Thorne saw the writing on the wall. He left the DLP and joined the Barbados Labour Party, the BELP, led by Mia Mottley. It was a smart political move. Mottley was surging in the polls. The BELP looked unstoppable, and Thorne wanted to be on the winning team. In the 2018 general election, something unprecedented happened. The BELP won all 30 seats in parliament. All of them. It was a complete wipeout. The DLP won 0 seats. No opposition existed. And Ralph Thorne was elected as the MP for Christchurch South, riding the BELP wave. It should have been the start of a glorious political career. Thorne was now in parliament. His party controlled everything. Mia Mottley was prime minister with total power. Thorne should have been given a cabinet position. He should have been a minister, but that never happened. For 6 years, from 2018 to 2024, Ralph Thorne sat as a backbench MP. He was not in the cabinet. He was not given any major responsibilities. He chaired the Thorne Commission on Local Government, which was supposed to establish people's assemblies across Barbados. It was important work, but it was not a cabinet position. Thorne watched as other BELP members got ministerial posts. He watched as Mottley built her inner circle, and he was not part of it. Sources say Thorne felt undermined from within his own party. He felt like powerful figures in the BELP were working against him. He even claimed that they were trying to introduce another candidate in his constituency to replace him. Thorne was being pushed out. and he had to make a choice. Then in 2022, another election happened, and again, the BELP won all 30 seats, every single one. For the second time in a row, Barbados had no official opposition. Mottley controlled everything. There was no one to question her decisions, no one to hold her accountable, no one to offer alternative views. And Ralph Thorne, still sitting as a backbench MP, started to realize he would never be part of Mottley's inner circle. He would never get the respect or the position he thought he deserved. So he started planning his exit. On February 12, 2024, Ralph Thorne did the unthinkable. He crossed the floor. He announced he was leaving the Barbados Labour Party, and by law, since he was the only MP not part of the government, he automatically became leader of the opposition. Overnight, just like that, Barbados finally had an opposition, and Ralph Thorne was leading it. The news shocked the entire country. Nobody saw it coming. Thorne gave a long statement explaining his decision. He talked about principle over party allegiance. He talked about working in a hostile environment. He talked about being undermined and disrespected. He said his faith and his moral convictions forced him to make the move. He could not stay in a party that was treating him unfairly. The political world exploded. Some people praised Thorne for having the courage to stand up to Mia Mottley. Others accused him of being power-hungry and opportunistic. Critics said he was a political lightweight who would never threaten Mottley's dominance. Supporters said he was finally giving Barbadians a voice against one-party rule. The debate raged for weeks, and Thorne, now leader of the opposition, had to decide what to do next. As opposition leader, Thorne had the power to appoint two senators to the upper house. He chose Ryan Walters and Tricia Watson, both members of the Democratic Labour Party. Yes, the same party he had left years earlier to join the BELP. Thorne was signaling that he was open to working with the DLP again. Then on February 16, 2024, just days after crossing the floor, Thorne officially rejoined the Democratic Labour Party. He went to the DLP headquarters on George Street and submitted his application. He said he had not come to lead the party. He said he just wanted to join their mission to fix Barbados. But everyone knew what was really happening. Within weeks, the DLP held internal elections, and Ralph Thorne became the political leader of the Democratic Labour Party. Dr. Ronnie Yearwood, who had been leading the party, stepped aside and became party president. Thorne took over as the face of the DLP in Parliament. It was a complete political transformation. In less than a month, Thorne had gone from BELP backbencher to opposition leader to DLP political leader. It was one of the fastest political rises in Caribbean history, and it changed the entire political landscape of Barbados. But Thorne's time as opposition leader has not been smooth. In February 2024, during a budget debate, Thorne made comments that sparked massive controversy. He claimed that the government was paying $500,000 a year to Kamer Safri, the head of the Alliance to End Homelessness. Thorne suggested Safri was using the money to campaign politically in Street Michael East. And then Thorne said something that enraged the entire country. He said Safri was being paid to sing lullabies and read bedtime stories to homeless people. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Kamer Safri, an emotional and passionate advocate for the homeless, fired back hard. He said Thorne's comments were degrading to homeless people and offensive to everyone working to help them. He called for Thorne to resign as both opposition leader and MP for Christchurch South. Safri defended his organization's work, explaining that the Alliance to End Homelessness had been operating for 15 years and only received government funding for the last 2. He said the organization's finances were fully transparent and available for public scrutiny, and he accused Thorne of using his political platform to attack vulnerable people. The incident damaged Thorne's reputation. It made him look out of touch and cruel, and it raised questions about his judgment and his ability to lead effectively. Then in August 2024, more internal drama hit the DLP. Tricia Watson, one of the 2 senators Thorne had appointed, resigned from the party. She said she found out from the media that she was being replaced in the Senate. She was not consulted. She was not given any warning. She just saw it on the news. Watson said resignation was her only option after being disrespected like that. The incident exposed deep divisions within the DLP. Some party members felt Thorne was running the party like a dictator. They said he was making decisions without consulting anyone. They said he was alienating longtime party members and creating a hostile environment. Critics accused Thorne of having a scorched earth mentality, willing to burn everything down to get his way. The DLP even denied entry to some of its own members who tried to attend the party's annual conference in August 2024. Party members showed up at the George Street headquarters and were turned away at the door. Thorne defended the decision, but it looked terrible. How can you claim to be building a democratic party when you are literally locking your own members out of party meetings? The optics were disastrous, and questions about Thorne's leadership style intensified. Despite all the controversies, Ralph Thorne remains leader of the opposition and political leader of the Democratic Labour Party. He sits in Parliament questioning the government. He demands accountability from Prime Minister Mia Mottley. He asks about tourism projects, hotel developments, and infrastructure plans. He tries to present himself as the voice of everyday Barbadians who want answers from their government. But the reality is complicated. Mottley's belt still holds all 30 seats. Thorne is the only opposition voice in a parliament completely controlled by one party. He can ask questions, but he cannot stop anything. He can criticize, but he cannot force votes. He can make noise, but he cannot change policy. And there is another problem. The next general election is coming. When Barbadians go to the polls, will they vote for the DLP, or will they stick with Mia Mottley and the belt? The DLP has won 0 seats in the last 2 elections. 0. They are starting from nothing. Thorne is trying to rebuild the party from scratch. He is trying to convince voters that the DLP deserves another chance. But many Barbadians remember why they rejected the DLP in the first place. The party made mistakes when they were in power. They mismanaged the economy. They lost the trust of the people. And to complete wipeouts in 2018 and 2020 to show just how much damage was done, Thorne's personal story is compelling. He is a brilliant lawyer. He is married to one of the top judges in the country. He has 3 children and strong moral convictions. He believes in fairness and justice. He wants to make Barbados better. But belief is not enough in politics. You need votes. You need organization. You need money. You need a message that resonates with regular people. And right now, Thorne is struggling to build all of that while dealing with internal party drama and public controversies. So what happened to Ralph Thorne? He made the biggest political bet of his life. He walked away from the ruling party. He crossed the floor. He became opposition leader. He rejoined and then took over the DLP. He is now trying to challenge the most dominant prime minister in Barbados history. And he is doing it all while managing a fragile coalition, dealing with internal critics, and trying to repair his own reputation after controversial statements. The next election will determine if Thorne's gamble pays off. If the DLP wins seats, he will be seen as a political genius who rebuilt a dead party. If they lose again, he will be remembered as the man who destroyed his own career for nothing. Either way, Ralph Thorne has already secured his place in Barbados political history. As the man who single-handedly ended one-party rule. As the man who gave Barbados an opposition when everyone thought democracy was dead. And as the man who had the courage, or the recklessness, to stand up and fight back.